Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Eaves of the World Tree. Hi there. My name is Marcy, and I'm going to be your DM for this morning. Joining me are four absolutely brave and wonderful souls who have tossed themselves headlong into this adventure where they didn't know which characters that they would be playing. They have no idea what they're getting into, and they don't know what's going to happen next after this session. Neither do I. We'll find out together. This session is going to be built around them escaping. They are going to be scrapping the place for as much as they can grab as White Tree Prison goes through some event around them. Right now, though, let's introduce our characters who have been incarcerated for varying lengths of time. And today we're going to start with Lise. Lise, if you could introduce yourself, your character, and something they miss from outside the walls of White Tree Prison.
Hi, I'm Lise. I'm playing Zanine. Um, Rogue, she, her. Uh, she most miss her urchin family that she formed around herself after she said F it to the orphanage. So that's what she misses most is her family.
Aw, sad. And how long has she been in White
11
Tree?
years.
11 years, right.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Not so beautiful. And what does she miss most about her family? What would they do together that she really
They
misses?
were very protective around each other. They were a very cohesive unit. They took in anyone that could be abused, used on the streets, and gave them a safe place to go.
Aw, that's so nice. Um, all right, Zanine, the half-orc rogue, go ahead and take inspiration for
Okay.
this session. Um, let's now go to Ken.
Oh my God. Good morning, everyone. Good morning,
Good
Marcy. Good
morning.
morning, Audrey. Good morning, Anna. Good morning, Lise. Good morning, audience.
Morning.
I'm Ken at Burling's Beard. I am a podcaster and freelance DM in the New York City area. You should hit me up to run your games if you want to play some D&D. I am playing Rubric today. Rubric is an amazing character. She was sort of this lauded academic in sort of environmental abjuration sciences, who, along with her sibling, sort of discovered, who's a journalist, discovered like this local government being corrupt and like doing some terrible things, sort of this grazing land, and sort of tried to take care of it, but failed and basically got incarcerated because of that whole debacle. Rubric is a voluptuous fire ganassi. She has a mohawk of flame. She has thick
Nice.
fingers and ruby skin. She is a badass, but it's interesting because, again, she was this lauded academic. She sort of left academia and went like hardcore, sort of like eco sort of terrorist, eco punk, if I can go that way. And so I'm playing a barbarian with Rubric. And so we should have some fun today. We'll see how it goes.
I hope so. She sounds like a beautiful mix of Bruce Banner and Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it, I think, in some ways. Yeah, when the rage comes out, it gets nuts. And so the thing that I think Rubric misses the most, or the things, are getting a daily newspaper, being able to read the newspaper in the morning, and being able to work with a personal trainer. I think those are the things that she misses the most in terms of experiences on the outside.
Oh my goodness. Fantastic. Go ahead and take your inspiration for this
Oh,
session.
thank you.
You're welcome. Next up is Anna.
Sorry, I'm just writing some notes.
It's all good. Notes are good.
Okay. So, hi, I'm Anna. I use she, they pronouns, and I am around on the internet. The character I'm playing is named Cato. Cato Gemini, but they're a Leo, and they use.
Why is that funny?
It's so good. It's so good.
They are a half-elf bard with a hairstyle that can only be described as a mullet, but fashion. I don't know what else. They've been in prison for about 4 months, but not for the first time. And I think what they miss most about being outside, I did a lot of research for this at 2 a.m. last night, is there's this con called a jam auction, where basically what you do is you get one person to like hype the crowd up, and then everyone else kind of like distributes little things, and you get people to pay for little things, and then you like give them their money back, and then you keep getting them to pay for like more and more expensive things, but you end up like giving them their money back most of the time, and then at the end you just don't give their money back, so you still gave them something for the money, but it wasn't worth what they paid
Yeah.
for. And that's what they miss, is kind of carousing with their little group of, it's a band of well, like music, but also not music, a
Yeah.
band of crime.
Band of crime.
That's what they like doing, so
And
Oh my gosh. The name of my band is Pyramid Scam. Let's go.
basically.
Oh god. Okay. Go ahead and take your inspiration for this session. And finally, we'll end with Audrey. Audrey, your character and what they miss from the outside world.
I am Audrey at Athens Arcana, and I am playing Elei, a water genasi cleric of Umberly, the goddess of the sea. And one distinctive thing about my character is that she lost one of her hands very early on during her sailing career, before she turned to piracy, and she has replaced that with a prosthetic that she has very intricately detailed, with symbols of her goddess and the sea, and things like that. And so what she misses is that time in the morning before the crew wakes up, when you can just stand on the deck of the ship and see, the gloriousness of the ocean laid out before you, and there's just no one but you and your goddess and some sharks probably.
Nice. All right, beautiful. And my name is Marcy. My pronouns are they, she, them. And I will be playing everyone else today. So, our scene begins. Hello. Our scene begins as we enter into White Tree Prison, a solitary bunker on the top of a tall hill, a sea rock with cresting waves beneath it. Hundreds of feet up from this rock and the roaring waves and tidal forces is a lone, lonely-looking building. It's huge on the inside. This complex holds some of the meanest, most desperate criminals there have ever lived, including our party. And when we begin, it is in the courtyard. They're doing their day-to-day between lifting weights or attempting to cheat at cards, in which 2 decks make up almost one full one. What are you doing in the courtyard when we begin our session? It is your free time to roam about for a couple of hours. Let's start in the same order that we went in before. Let's start with Lise. Lise, what is Zanine doing?
Zanine would probably be just chilling on the perimeter, scanning over everything, making sure that no one's getting bullied, or just making she's a mama bear kind of person, so she'd be making sure that people aren't starting shit.
Zanine, you have a neutral reputation with the guards here. At first, they had been staring at you with a a watchful eye, wondering what you were planning. But after you stopped a couple of fights from happening and protected some of the weaker inmates and some people who they're actually kind of fond of, they don't think did any crimes, they've started to look the other way a couple of times when you were doing other things. Occasionally, you get an extra ration of food for your meal.
Okay.
Ken,
Yes.
what is Rubric doing in the
Yeah,
courtyard?
so I think Rubric right now is alternating between doing two things. Rubric has a bracelet on her wrist that keeps her from producing flame, basically. It's a countermeasure that many casters are fitted with or whatever in here. And so at this point, I think that she is alternatively either doing Pilates or smoking a cigarette. It's one of the two.
She's
And
doing
so,
both.
yeah, she's doing both. Exactly. She's doing Pilates while smoking a cigarette. Exactly.
Yeah, I can see that.
The leg going up.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, it's a sight to behold. That's for sure.
Beautiful.
So I think that's sort of what she's doing. I think Rubric is not a solitary person per se. So I think that she's actually working out with her sibling, Sheer, who is also in here, one of her friends. Sheer, they are her Rubric sibling, and they are the family member that was the accomplice in sort of the crimes that happened, as it were. And so that's sort of maybe even other people are working out with them as well. Who knows?
You also have a neutral relationship with the guard, and so does your sister. Um, but you have a very good relationship with most of the other inmates here. The only thing to do is work out, and they look to you for guidance. Rubric is not a very strong person, but they are very durable. And the amount of endurance that a physical trainer can do is like it's leaving an impact on them. They're like, wow, they can't lift weights like that guy, and just like this big burly Goliath character is just like lifting a barbell, but they can sure do it for longer. Let's now go to Anna. Anna, what is Cato doing?
They're definitely cheating at cards.
Nice.
But with friends, so it's not bad if you cheat your friends.
It's not bad if you cheat your friends. Is it like one of those shell game type situations where you have like one of your friends pretend to be the rube and then it draws in other rubes?
Yeah, basically. But with cards. Like where you show the cards and you're like, oh, which one's mine? And they're like, I don't know this one. But then other people come over and you change the cards out. That kind of thing. I don't know a lot about cons. I had to do a lot of crime research, but that's okay. I think they definitely have friends here because they've been here multiple times, but also probably some people are onto them by now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
You have a very poor relationship with the guards. They see what you're doing. They know exactly what you're doing. They're letting you do it, but they don't trust you.
as they shouldn't.
Yeah. Been in here for 4 months and already wiped out a third of the inmates.
Who does trust Cato? You know.
I can think of one person. So, and finally, Audrey, what is Elei doing in the courtyard?
Elei is probably hanging out with her friends that she made, as I like to call us, the Ganassi gang. Found an Earth Ganassi and an Air Ganassi, and just kind of like clicked. Haven't had a whole lot of time to meet other people, so I'm just trying to hang out with them, stay out of the way, stay out of fights.
Awesome. And you are also wearing a collar, probably to keep you grounded and to keep your friends from, I don't know, breathing underwater. It's the most sincere way to put it. In this courtyard, there are about 10 other inmates at the moment. Some of them are in the prayer room, which sits adjacent to the courtyard. A couple more people can be found in the latrines outside of this 10. 4 guard posts stand tall around the courtyard, and guards are keeping an eye out, some a little bit lazier than others, some are just not looking at Zanine whatsoever. And it is here that Rubric, you notice as you move to take another draw of your cigarette, your entire cigarette begins going up in flames.
Oh, okay. My mohawk flame hair definitely like sort of goes a little higher. As I am very surprised by that. I can't help but blurt out, "I'm free!"
a couple of the people also working out with you look at you, and the burning cigarette in your hand.
Yeah, it's like ignited basically, and
Yeah.
it's just like almost like a fuse is just sort of going off at this point.
And they stare at you. Around this time, Elei, you notice that you feel lighter than you have in days. You feel as though you aren't making a connection with the ground right now, which is it's usually pretty normal, but you've missed it over this week.
I'm the water one.
Oh, right. Sorry. You are the water one. Sorry, why did I think you were air? Even more succinctly. Thank you. Sorry. Why did I think you were air? That's on me. As you take a draft from your tankard, you realize that you're still breathing as you drink it. It's like a normal thing that you do anyway, and like you've had to get used to not doing that over the past week, and suddenly the water like jets into your lungs, and you're like, oh, I can breathe.
I like imagining that I had just like the first couple of days just like choking, like just like trying to drink water, just like
Yeah, it's a source of entertainment for a lot of the guard is to watch that kind of thing happen. For you, Rubric, you start feeling hot, normal hot. You've been so cold, almost as if it's the feeling that you get chills when you're sick, when you have a fever, you feel colder than you are, and then suddenly like your sinuses start clearing out, and like, oh, this is normal. As you sit there doing Pilates with your cigarette ablaze, pretty soon it dwindles down to the finer points. Zanine, you would have heard her say she's free, blurting out, and a couple of the guards in the nearest tower that also drew their attention as well, and they look down just to see what's happening, and they see the fire just coming out of her mouth, realize it's red skin and that it's a fire genasi, and they start pulling their stuff together.
Do I notice other spellcasters also being able to suddenly have access to their powers?
As you take a look around, yeah, you notice a couple of them. They start the air genasi with Elei is not touching the ground.
Water Ganazi Koso.
Yeah, the water genasi is just throwing back a tankard and looks fine. But they
oh yeah, one of her friends is okay. I'm going to be keeping an eye on the guards and tracking what they're doing.
Okay. Yep, they're putting their stuff together and beginning to go down.
And also probably moving toward the center where everybody else is, because I feel like something's about to go down.
Yeah. Cato, for you start feeling the rhythm of life come back to you. It's been about 4 months, but there's a special relationship that bards have in some capacity to the performative world around them. The ability to read beats in real life as though it were a performative measure. Sometimes this comes through oratory, and sometimes this comes through singing. And for you start being able to read that rhythm once more, although as though it were a script on a page.
Feels good, man.
And then suddenly you are way better at cheating at cards. This seems ideal.
Exactly as we need.
Great.
The opportunity to just change one of the cards.
Beautiful. So, Rubric, do you do anything else besides Pilates as this thing engulfs in flames? And Elei, same question for you, as you're able to drink water and then you notice your friend being able to float a little bit higher off the ground.
Are the guards moving like towards? They're not like readying like arrows or anything, right? They don't look like they're trying to.
That's a good question. So you weren't specifically on the lookout. You're hanging out with your Janazi band. Go ahead and roll me a perception check, and we'll see if you notice as well. I'm going to give you advantage on this because if you're realizing your powers are going back, that's probably giving you a little bit of paranoia about what's going on around you.
You probably would have noticed me at least moving toward the center at the very least.
Yeah, there's not a huge amount of people in this place right now.
My higher roll was an 18, so that's a 23 perception.
Excellent. Yes, you do notice that on the tower nearest to Rubric, it looks like there are a couple of guards preparing crossbows. They aren't looking like they're getting ready to fire. It's more of a precautionary measure as 3 more enter in from the high wall down to the stairwell area to enter the courtyard. And there is a small bell that you hear coming from there as well, and then you start hearing the other towers respond with that same chime.
So in addition to my Ganassi powers, can I cast spells?
Good question. How do you figure that out?
I would like to try to bring some fog.
Okay.
So.
All right. So you want to cast Fog Cloud?
Yes.
Beautiful. Where would you like to place it?
Probably. I'm not sure exactly where everything is. It makes a 20-foot radius sphere, but I want to try to make sure that Rubric gets sort of hidden by this, because I feel like Rubric might be the one that they might start shooting at, but also kind of towards the door that the guards would be coming in through.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of.
There's enough space there for you to lay down a cover of Fog Cloud. Rubric, what is your response before I resolve Fog Cloud?
Sure. So Rubric is feeling incredibly sheepish that she blurted this thing out, and is like, if she could turn more ruby red, blanching, and she would. But she realizes that the best way to deal with this is to not just to play it off. So she continues to do like this handstand push-up where she's going, I'm free. Like she's just like trying to like play it off. Just trying to like play it off like it's part of the workout routine somehow. Probably not doing a very good job at that at all.
Well, that's what we have rolls for. So go ahead and roll me a deception check.
Okay. That would be a 1, I believe.
So as you're saying, I'm free, you also are steaming.
Yeah, I'm just like turning into like flames. Or just, like...
And more alarmingly, so the fog cloud requires a verbal and somatic component, and neither of these are subtle. So Elei, as you cast this away from you, I will say the consequence of casting the spell where you want to cast it, you will not be included in the fog cloud, and it could make you a target for attacks. Do you still want to do this?
Can I include myself in it?
If you move up to them and then cast it, you will have the good graces of disadvantage against you if people are trying to attack you.
Yes, I will do that then, and I'm gonna try to look kind of casual-ish. I know I'm not like. I'm not.
I summon the power of the goddess of the sea. I'm casual.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The further consequence of this that I did not mention because it was really funny to me is like Rubric is smoking, and then Elei, you move over to them kind of casually, and then toss up a fog cloud, whatever that looks like for you with your one arm. And then there's like all this smoke coming off of Rubric as the guards open the door, and then suddenly it just erupts into fog. So Rubric may have gone Nova, who knows? They certainly don't. And let me roll a check here real quick. But another one because disadvantage. And there is a shout that from the nearest guard tower. Hey, I think somebody's casting, and then they stop because they can't see you any longer. Unable to prevent this. At this moment, there is a rumble. It spreads out from beneath your feet. Not centered on you, almost as if it comes from perhaps the south side. You've been here for a while. You've seen the rotation of the sun and moon. You're fairly certain that the direction is south, toward the end of the courtyard where the kitchens end, and then the long row of halls and walls towards solitary confinement. And you see very clearly these walls begin to shift, almost as if they're momentarily made out of gelatin. The earth rumbles from beneath you, and various fissures begin popping up and spraying up. Rubric and Elei, you can hear it, and you can feel it and see the vibrations, but perhaps the fissures sprouting up gusts are not super visible to you, other than the fog is moving a bit more. But Zanine and Cato, you definitely notice that. Cato, your table begins to shake and fall to the side, the winnings and cards spilling out all over the place as people jump to their feet and then are knocked to their knees. I need everyone here to roll me a strength saving throw to keep balance. If you're already on the ground, go ahead and roll that with advantage. Like Rubric doing push-ups.
Got a 3.
Got a 9.
Yeah, I got a 11. Yeah, that was an 11.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's okay.
16 for Rubric.
Okay, great. So 11 and 16, that's enough for you to keep your feet. I imagine Zanine was kind of like leaning up against the wall anyway, and you can kind of use it to stabilize
like
it.
crouched and trying to keep balance because
That
seeing
works.
that the vibration, because she was moving toward the center.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Regardless, so you
Yeah.
do keep your balance.
Okay.
Elei, you and your actually, hold on. You and your other Genasi friends crumble to the ground a bit, except for your air Genasi friend, who's just like, what is their name again?
Something.
Kale.
Kale.
It's spelled like the name, not like the word.
Okay. They managed to keep up, but mostly because they aren't touching the ground right now, and seeing everybody fall around them, they just kind of like go to the side and start like that, clearly casting levitate at the moment, but it's funny regardless. And Cato, the chair breaks from beneath you, and you land on your rump along with the rest of the people at the table you were playing cards with. The sky darkens above as various small fragments begin filling it. Slow at first, perhaps the adrenaline from the event is beginning to make time move more slowly as these things begin cascading across the sky and then suddenly careening into the ground around you. Everyone roll a dexterity saving throw at disadvantage if you are on the ground or in the fog cloud, because that would have obscured your vision.
16.
Nice.
Again.
13.
Was it disadvantage
17.
for everyone, or just the ones that were?
Just the ones that are on the ground. If
Okay.
you're rolling,
It would be 8.
17.
okay. Zanine, although you keep your balance, you watch as the sky is full. Everyone else manages to get out of the way of some of these shards. You do not, however, and you take 6 points of bludgeoning damage as a large boulder careens into you. You hear several thuds all around as the ground around you is peppered with these fragments of rock, which you suddenly identify to be pieces of the prison wall. And you see and hear various guards around you being pelted with these things and crumpling beneath the weight.
Okay.
So the prison very quickly devolves into chaos. There's a moment after this happens of complete silence, guards and prisoners looking to each other, the prisoners who are on their feet and the guards who have been toppled over by rocks. There is a moment of absolute silence. Coen brothers awkwardness before it devolves into madness. Prisoners jumping onto the guards and starting to strip away their uniforms and armors. There are people trying to bash in the wall. A raid has started. What do you do?
That one wasn't me.
And which seems to dampen my spirits, because I was like totally believing that it was you that did this. Like, you called out to your goddess, and then all this crazy shit starts happening, and I was just like, "Whoa!" Like totally believing like that it was you, and then you're like, "No, it wasn't me." And so I'm like, "Oh," and I look around for my sibling Sheer, and I look up at my friend Elei, and I say, we need to get to the kitchens. That's where my other friend Creamhold is, the dwarven cook. We need to find her.
Creamhold.
Were some of the guards in the courtyard?
Yep, some of them had been coming down, and as you look around, as you remove the rock from yourself and start getting to your feet, or maybe partway to your feet, you notice that the walls around have been
really
beaten.
Rough.
You are a half-orc, though, so you can bounce back to 1 if it gets worse.
Yeah. First thing that she would do is run to the nearest guard and start stripping for armor.
Okay, perfect. You run to a guard, and they are dead. They have been wholesale pummeled in by the attack. Yeah, probably a weaker, less formidable part of a guard. It seems to be elven, and they have on them leather armor that you can strip from them.
Yep, I'm stripping and putting it on.
Okay, that will take about I'd say take about 5 minutes to strip it off, and then you can carry it with you or put it on, and that will take about 10 minutes to don it, unless you have somebody helping you.
She would take the 10 minutes to put that on.
Okay, beautiful.
After what had just happened, she would take the 10 minutes to put that on.
Yeah, maybe after 5 minutes I can change your mind. Anyway, now we go to Elei and Rubric. You are heading to the kitchens.
Great. Yeah, totally. I am grabbing Sheer as well, as long as I can see them. Do I see my sibling
You
anywhere?
do see your sibling. You notice that they were experts at just evading everything that happened. They still took
which makes perfect sense, because Sheer specifically is an expert in terms of thief tools and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Like, that's sort of their journalist. Like, that's why I had them. We made such a good team in some ways as we were exploring. Whatever the story that got us in here. And so, I definitely am sort of dashing towards the kitchens, but in my mind is burning this idea of this person that is my enemy here, that I just hate. In my mind is burning the idea of the elven prison psychiatrist, Dr. Morlist. I need to find him in the prison, infirmary or whatever. Something in me I have to find this person and like get revenge, basically.
Okay. Roll me an intelligence check at advantage. We'll see if you can find them as well.
All right, cool. At this point, that will be a 17.
For 17, yes, you know where to find them. They normally hang out. There is a part of the prison that is set aside for guards. It's in the barracks, and then if you keep going further back, there's a sort of civilian/contractor area, and that is where they are until they are brought in to another part of the place. So they're either going to be in the warden's chambers or or beyond the guard equipment area.
And I know that those areas of the prison are incredibly heavily guarded. So I'm like, that's what's in my mind, is I'm like mulling this very risky sort of course of action as we are speeding our way towards the kitchen.
Nice. All
And
right.
I'm like trying to follow. I don't have a clear idea really of like where I should be going,
Good.
so I'm just kind of
Yeah.
Yeah, you've only been here for like what, like a little while, right?
yeah, like a
Just a
week
week.
or two
Like
at
a week,
most. So
right? Yeah.
yeah,
One
I'm just kind of following Rubric, trying to like herd along like the other. We can just be an elemental gang.
Yeah.
I will tell you,
Yeah.
for your character, Elei, your character, while they do have precautionary measures against casting, it doesn't necessarily mean that they took your symbol away, but they are aware that you're a cleric. They are aware that you're able to cast using a symbol. But because of the other measures they have in place, they gave you a deal, so to speak. You can more or less visit it any time in the prayer room. So that is where
Okay.
your prosthetic hand is.
Okay, so then timeout. Gonna go
Yeah.
there, get that, because that's
Sure.
important.
Okay.
I will come with you. I trust you. We're friends. You've only been here a little while, so and it's so close. It's just right off where we are. So yeah, Rubric, like as you're like, oh, I gotta get my hand. Like Rubric was totally like skirt. Like, all right, let's do it.
Nice. And then finally, Cato, what are you going to do?
Well, I'm on the ground, so I'm going to stay there for a second
Sure.
and scoop up as much as I can of my winnings. And then
Yes.
Your winnings are some silverware. Go ahead and add one set of silverware.
Nice. It is silver. Silver?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's like really dinged up and stuff, but it's still no less silver, so it can be melted down and used for things. And also a bit of jerky.
A good snack. And I think since they know or they trust Zanine, that means they probably like Zanine. So they're going to
I just
barrel
don't
roll
cause
to
trouble.
them,
That's all.
and I think maybe help her into the armor, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll cut down the time by half. And at this point, this is all happening kind of simultaneously. So, Zanine, you get help stripping the armor off of the body. You see Cato, that extra halfling or half elf, appear next to you and begin helping you strip off the armor. And maybe there's a moment where it's just like, is this for you or for me?
Like, but I look really rough.
Yeah. So let's go now to the House of Prayer, the prayer room, which sits on the outside of the courtroom. As you start approaching it, you notice that the doors, the heavy wooden doors, adorned with iron and various designs of carvings of different gods, not made from what you would expect to be like clans crafter type material. It looks like more like the inmates made their own sort of homages over time, and it more or less looks messy, but heartfelt. These doors start closing on you, and you hear an audible click unless you do something to prevent that.
Yeah. I throw myself against the doors, obviously.
Oh, fair enough.
I mean, yeah, I attempt to explode them open.
Yes, go ahead and roll me a strength check to break down the door. I believe the DC for this is to break down a door. I believe it's 15.
That's fine. At this point, can I just rage as well as I'm like, "Ah!" as I'm throwing my
barbarians get rage at first level. Go ahead. You get your bonus action to rage and your movement and action to charge. What'd you get? Is that a 20?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you barrel into this door. It groans and buckles from out of your weight. No sooner had the locks been touched, and that's not the issue here. Isn't the locks. You can feel the door like buckling a little bit, and the locks don't break open. They're stronger than you could ever formerly go against, but the hinges come off the door and the entire thing just slams forward. And you are probably kneeling or something as the thing.
No, I fall. I straight up fall down. I am prone.
Fair enough. You know.
Fall. But from my prone position, I sort of go ahead. I'm like, go for it.
Just speaking into the door, and you notice that the door is like slightly off balance as well, like
Like something underneath it?
Like something is underneath it, and you hear like an oof, Elei, as you run all across the top of it. In the prayer room, there is like it's very rudimentary in here. There are several various benches and the like, leading up to an altar in which there's a number of holy relics that belong to people from all over the prison. And it doesn't take you long. You know yours. You've been here before. You probably visit it every day as part of your morning prayers, although you cannot or have not been able to prepare your spells. This is just a morning routine for you. You identify your prosthetic hand. Do you try to find anything else while you're here?
I'm gonna give it a cursory look. I'm not interested in taking anybody else's, holy symbols or, their own like personal stuff, but like, if there's like some
really nice gold candle.
Yeah, an idol or something, that candlesticks. I would grab one of those too.
Okay.
Because money's money.
It is. Okay. So.
Actually, candles. I'm not that worried about candlesticks, but candles are something I would be.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So candles count as a D4 on our chart of things. For those of you watching us for this stream, the way that this is set up is every time somebody grabs an item, we're going to roll a corresponding die to that item's worth, and that goes against a total group score of 100. So everything's additive. So go ahead and roll a D4. And we'll say that you can grab a small number, like a pack of candles, like 10. I think is fair.
I rolled a 4.
Ooh.
Awesome.
Of course, this is the opposite of what I want this time.
Yeah.
Right. But you do grab a pack of 10 candles. You've been here for every day, and you've noticed where they take out the candles to replenish it. You throw open a chest and grab yourself a set of candles. Anything else that you're looking for in here? Or do you want me to tell you what you see?
I was gonna say I don't think I'm looking for anything specific.
Well, Rubric is. Rubric on the door is getting up as she's sort of still raging and like looking around basically for anything that resembles a shield as she's trying to basically wrench away this huge door to see who's underneath it to make sure that they are either dead or what. But again, the rage continues as she's like casting around looking for a shield and then like heaving this door off of the body is what I'm assuming is underneath it.
Okay. I'm going to say that normally they would have separated any holy symbols from shields as one can be affixed to it. However, you do find one that's been bolted to the wall, and if you pull that off, it is yours. And for that bolting, we're gonna roll it.
That's super rage style for sure. Like she totally just like
might as well just use the most of your rage right now, And that's gonna be a D12.
She's totally ripping that off.
That's gonna be a D12. For Zanine and Cato taking care of stripping that armor off, we're gonna call that a D10, but half the number because you're helping each other.
Oh.
Okay. Do you want us both to roll?
No, just one person.
Okay.
That was the one pulling it off. I'll roll.
I got 3.
Nice.
You said half the roll?
Yes.
So that'll be a 4.
Okay. And for this, they don't always need to roll for this. They're raging already. I imagine they can pop the thing off.
Yeah, she's very strong.
Okay. So our total tally right now, 4, 3 plus 4, we're at 11 points out of 100.
Hey.
Wow.
Right? Goes fast. 10th of the way. All right. So, Elei, you have your holy symbol. Let me see what else you can find.
Melt it on.
And once you have your holy symbol and look around a bit longer and leave the place, I would say that's about the time that Cato and Zanine finish up. So, what else do you find around this place? Random object generator.
Cool. Well, Rubric is definitely like throwing that door aside. What does she find underneath it?
A person who is just
a criminal person, or a guard person,
a matron, the matron of the The
Oh,
prayer hall who is
like
closing the door to try to
like a
prevent.
nun. Like I just killed a
No,
nun. Is
no,
that what
she's not dead. She's just very, very wounded. And she's just underneath. Most of the locks and the hinges on the side of the door actually prevented her from being squished
cool?
too
So then
much.
me throwing the door away feels like I'm freeing her, maybe to some degree.
Yeah, and she just
Uh,
scrambles to her feet. Elei, you know her. She's let's give her a name real quick. She will be uh matron Alensi.
Cool. I bark at her. Hide yourself! As I rush after Elei, who's obviously
Yeah.
leaving.
And this matron Alenzi is a an older half orc woman, and she scrambles to her feet and just gets behind some curtains.
Yeah. Hide.
Yep. She's not. This is not her thing that she does. She just helps people keep the faith. Um, for Elei, you also notice a number of things around here, like some tapestries that might be worth a fair amount of money. To pull them down will be a d6 of your time spent here if you'd like to get those. And then there's also like the sort of communion offering plate that's near the altar as well. It doesn't have much on it, but the plate itself is worth something if you want to take that with you. It's not akin to any god, it's a silver plate.
I'm not worried about any just like
Perfect.
money or whatever. I'm like, no, we don't have time for that.
Awesome. So yeah, Rubric, you have a shield.
Yep.
Elei, you have your holy symbol back, so you can start casting with your material, quote unquote, or focus components. Uh, and as you leave and enter into the courtyard once more, you notice that the fog cloud is still persisting, and the ground begins to fissure a little bit more. Zanine and Cato, as you finish stripping this armor off of this guard, um, you notice that too, and the ground is shaking beneath your feet. And the courtyard begins splitting apart, almost as if the rock itself, the bedrock that this place sits on, is beginning to split.
You're up on a cliff, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Big ol' sea rock.
Yeah, I'm not gonna bother putting it on. I'm gonna go because this place looks like it's gonna crumble.
Mm-hmm.
Does the guard have like a dagger or something on a belt or something?
Yes, yes. To take that will be a d4.
Okay, so I'm just gonna grab that real quick.
Okay.
A 1.
Nice. 12 out of 100.
So yeah, I'm just gonna grab that real quick and carry the armor with me.
Okay.
Start making way toward the kitchens, because that would be toward the not cliff side, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, making that way.
That is correct. So as you make your way to the kitchens, Cato, do you follow too?
Yes. I think I'm going to look out for a guard post on the way, though.
Mm-hmm.
I need something that can resemble an instrument, and then I feel a lot better.
Awesome.
Hey, we could use a pot and you can use it as a drum if you're proficient with drums.
I'm not proficient with drums,
Oh,
so
no.
unfortunately.
That's okay. What are you proficient with?
Flutes, viols, and lutes. So very specific things.
Those
Or
are
maybe,
specific things. So you might be able to find or cobble something together. As you look up into the guards' watchtowers, you don't see anything that would resemble that. You do see a bunch of guards kind of assembling themselves on the wall, barking orders at each other, and getting themselves ready for something. Go ahead and roll an intelligence check. Gonna be I'm going to give you advantage. No, I'm going to give you training on this check. I'm going to give you proficiency because it would have had to deal with hearing gossip.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and give you proficiency on that because it feels like that's something that you should know.
So I just add the proficiency bonus.
And this is to figure out where you would find an instrument like that, or perhaps even your instrument.
Okay. 13.
13. You heard gossip that the guards had, because they distrust and dislike you so much, that they actually have been playing your instrument poorly in their guard barrack room, like in the back, and making up songs to slight you and and your jam
Brutal.
auction party.
I'd be so mad if they like snapped the strings or something.
They probably snapped like one string, and it might be missing a string when you get it back that you'll have to redo.
They poorly tuned it too tight, and it snapped.
Yeah. So yeah, you hear that they've been messing with it, but that they also have other instruments, and the warden is particularly fond of instruments and might have a few in his chambers as well.
Brutal.
Yep. So as you all leave the courtyard, there's a set of doors, and on the other side immediately, almost as if they weren't quite waiting, but they were assembling, a set of 3 guards emerge from the doorway, weapons drawn, and they go, "You will come with us. You're going back to your cells."
Never!
Roll initiative.
Nope, not doing that.
Yep. Roll initiative. We'll call them guard 1, guard 2, and guard 3, and they are 1, 2, 3, all in a line.
All in a line.
Yep.
Should be fun. I love this randomness. That's so fun. We did the random characters, and now we're doing this random gear sort of point buy thing, which is super fun.
Yeah, this is actually the way that I would run out of the abyss as well, is
cool.
like, especially for that breakout scene, because I'm just like, do we just have everything? Where do we find it?
Yeah, good call. Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna go around to get initiative in just a second. Just need to pull up my poor little guard stats. Oh, look at them just lined up in a row. Okay, got it. All right. So same order as before. Lise, what did you get for initiative for Zanine?
21.
Nice.
Nicely done.
And then
Rubric
Ken?
got 7. Rubric got a 9.
Rubric got a 9. Okay. Anna, what did Cato get?
11.
11
is 11, and Audrey
10.
10 for Elei. Who I will remember is a water genasi.
I will remember.
I will remember that. Okay, need to roll some initiative for my people.
Awesome. Well, the morning stream, you gotta love it. The casual morning stream, everybody. How are you enjoying it?
The casual morning
The casual prison break morning stream.
Okay. So one of these guards looks like they're going to head up first before the others, who are still somewhat readying themselves. But before they get to go, Zanine, it is your turn. What would you like to do?
Has the others already moved up on them, or are the guards separated?
The guards are separated by about 3 to 4 feet. They're more or less in a line outside of the door, consuming the entire space of the door.
None of the others have gotten up there as well.
No, it's just these 3 right now.
No, I was talking about Elei.
Oh, you all can be in whatever sort of order you like. You're all with each other, essentially.
Basically, I'm asking it, can I get sneak attack?
Oh, I see. If you'd like that, fair enough. Yep. So good rule of thumb for me as a GM. Tell me what your intent is first, and I can work with that better to make it happen.
Okay. Whatever guard is closest to everyone else, and take them out first, so that they can't get to the others.
Okay.
What you for?
So you can't get sneak attack yet. However, you still have some cover that you can use to hide for this turn, or you can hold your turn until somebody is next to somebody to get sneak attack.
I will wait for the close. Yeah, I'll wait for one to get close enough to someone. Okay. Not really a particular person, but just whoever moves closest. That's the first one I'll go for.
Awesome. So the first guard is going to move forward, holding a shield in front of them, and he has a spear.
Okay.
That he is going to use against Rubric, because Rubric is like the biggest threat right now. She is glowing and terrifying and screaming, and she has a shield now. So he's going to throw up his shield and go to stab at you, Rubric.
Awesome.
This will move him into range for your sneak attack.
So that's the first one I would have gone for, and
Roll for it.
I
What'd you get?
critted.
Oh my gosh! Roll your damage.
So that's just with a dagger, though.
Yeah.
That's still pretty good. Because you get 2 dagger damage and 2 sneak attack damage. So 2d4, 2d6 plus your dex, rather. It's hot. That's a hot, spicy product.
It's spicy. Also, I recently started using like quote unquote the bloodied condition for my games, and we've been calling it.
I love that.
We've been calling it Spicy Town.
Yeah, Spicy Town condition. Obviously.
14 altogether.
Ooh, 14 damage.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So your dagger, you launch it. You wouldn't be able to like hold and move, but you launch it, and it digs itself into the side of his neck, and you just see him collapse to the ground. His life taken from him before he's even able to thrust the tip of his spear past his own shield, and he crumbles to the ground in front of Rubric. So that's one guard dead. That guy's dead. You guys know more. There's only 2 guards left. They look a little concerned. So
see, that's why you don't trust the quiet ones.
You don't trust the quiet, bleeding ones carrying dead guards' equipment on their shoulder. So that said, Cato, it's your turn, and for your knowledge, there is now a guard in front of you, wearing dead. His immediate items that he has on him are chain shirt, shield, which he has, the spear, and then a couple of pouches on a belt, including his sword belt, which has a short sword on it. And that's what you get for just a casual look. But Cato, it's your turn.
Hang on. He has a short sword, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, you can definitely use the short sword as a bard. You can even wear a chain shirt possibly as a bard.
No, that would be
maybe not a little bit later, yeah, as a valor bard. But yeah, you definitely can use those weapons.
Okay. And there's 2 other guards, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they just saw their friend get stabbed in the neck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
yeah, but a quiet one that they were neutral toward.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna look at the closest one to me, and instead of going straight for the loot, even though I want to, I'm gonna say, "Are you sure this is a good idea? Don't you think it would be easier if you just left us alone and we can all stay friends, and I can forgive what you've done, and you can just go?"
Okay.
And I want to cast Charm Person.
Nice.
Okay. You can target one of them at a first level spell slot. Let me just check. I think that's only verbal and somatic components, so you're good for that. Let me roll a wisdom save. What's your DC?
Let me see. Sorry. 13.
Okay. The guard that you make eye contact with, their eyes darken toward you, and they smile and go, "I know your tricks. They're not gonna work here."
Oh!
I'm gonna dip behind the Genasi then.
Okay, sounds good. So yeah, you move. Which one?
Never mind. Bye.
Elei or Rubric?
Because Rubric is beef, even if I don't trust.
Oh,
That's
I guess
true.
you trust me. I guess you trust me a little bit. You trust me to be beefy.
Cato trusts Rubric when Rubric is angry at other people who aren't
There
Cato.
it is. There it is. There it is.
Perfect. Elei, it's your turn.
So there's still 2 of them. I am going to hold up my holy symbol, and I'm going to say a word of radiance.
Good spell.
And that is going to be for both of the guards are going to have to make a con saving throw.
Yes.
DC 13.
Now let me just check something. You might have to move into their range first.
It's a 5-foot radius. It's a 5-foot radius.
Oh, it's only 5 foot. Yes, I will move right next to them then. I was looking at other spells.
Yeah, word of radiance is great though for like area effects.
It is. Okay, so you move forward into them, and the other 2, as they were getting ready to do something, each thrust at you with spears. The first one is going to be... It's going to be an 11.
Misses.
Nice. And the second one...
Dexterity.
The second one will hit.
Yeah.
For 3 damage. So as you move forward, it's perhaps the tempestuous hand of Umberly that guides you to move in a fashion like water around the first one. The second one catches you, and perhaps that is where this passionate cry that erupts from you happens. And I will make them those con saves now. All right. One of them will pass and one of them will fail. So we'll say number 2 fails and number 3 passes.
All right. Well, the one that failed will take 3 radiant damage.
Got it.
Okay, for daring to strike you.
Yep. For the same amount, right? So yeah, your word cuts into them. They seem surprised and starting to maybe get a little bit demoralized. Now it's Rubric's turn.
Cool. Rubric.
Oh wait, the one that hit me. I would like to use my Wrath of the Storm.
Yes.
I do actually have that.
Yes. Absolutely. Read to me what it does. I actually don't have it.
They will have to be a DC 13 Dex saving throw, or takes a bunch of damage.
All right. The one that hit you does not pass his save.
Cool. So 2d8, so it will be 2 plus 3, so 5 more damage. Lightning damage, not thunder.
Nice. And this is going to be the one that already took damage before. So your word cuts into him, and it's just layered with this thunderous boom. And let me know if you want to describe these things yourselves, y'all.
Okay.
I just kind of default to describing it, but if you have another, just be like, no, I got this. It's all yours. I want you to have the spotlight. This guard is still alive, but starting to question every life judgment maybe perhaps he's ever made. But his eyes are full of fury, and they are focused on you, Elei. Rubric, it's your turn.
Cool. So Rubric had sort of smashed in here. We'd all been sort of running down the hall. These guards turned, and we sort of clashing with them. Mm-hmm. One of them ran at me. And was going to stab me, and then a dagger went in their throat, and he fell down dead.
Yep, and you do notice that it's Zanine who did that for you.
Right, exactly. As the sort of the spear is coming at me, or rather Rubric, while not incredibly strong, as you mentioned, has a lot of sort of stamina, if you will, but also because of all the Pilates, is quite, even for her voluptuous nature, quite sort of twinkle toes. She has these twinkle toes where she does this spin and catches the spear, taking it right out of the hands of the guard as they die. She spins, turns, flips it around so the blunt side is ahead, and throws it right at the guard that is menacing her friend, Elei. And so I will go ahead and make
that's cool. I'm not going to make you roll for that. That'll be your object to interact to pick up the weapon from a dead person.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
And it will be 18 versus AC.
That'll hit.
And I'll do 7 points of bludgeoning damage. I'm not trying to kill this guard. I'm trying to hit them with the blunt side of the spear.
Okay. I'm going to half that damage, mostly because the blunt weapon nature, but that is enough to take them out, especially if you're going after the one that already was hit.
That's right.
All right, perfect. And that'll bring us back to Zanine's turn as this guard.
I'd actually like to run forward as well to get shoulder to shoulder with Elei.
Okay, perfect. So Elei, you're staring into this guard's eyes a moment after you force the fury of Tempest onto them, and then suddenly his head goes a little bit plastic, I would say, because it's moving so quickly as this the blunt end of a spear connects. You see the ripples go across his skin and then from his face, and then you hear this hollow sound as he collapses to the ground in front of you, and soon enough it's replaced with the broad shoulder of Rubric, a Fire Genasi friend. Great. Zanine, it's your turn.
So that remaining guard, huh?
Yes, there's one more remaining. And let me just roll a quick thing. Despite all odds against them, they are here to serve a duty.
Ooh, they stand strong.
They have passed their moral check. Morale check, rather.
All right. I guess object interact. Grab my dagger
Mhm.
that I got out of the neck
Yep.
of the first guard. Ooh, that's not so great. So that will be a 10 altogether to try and hit that guard.
For 10, unfortunately, that's not quite enough. Their shield moves and it clings off of the side. They see you go for it and are able to defend themselves. But it would have hit had he not been wielding a shield. Perhaps. Anything else you'd like to do on your turn? Move or...
No, I want to stay there and be a target since the cleric's standing there.
Okay. Sounds good. This last guard is going to run their shoulders and Rubric stab at you.
Nah.
Holding their breath. They look clearly afraid, but they are resolved to fight. And I believe that's going to be a hit with a dirty 20 versus your AC.
Oh, yes.
And they're going to do 5 damage to you. 5 piercing damage.
As I'm raging, I half that damage. And it definitely seems like I sort of just smash the spear away even as it cuts up across my sort of upper arm.
Yep. And now it's going to be Cato's turn.
I've decided that I want the short sword.
Okay. Beautiful. If you're taking it to add it into your equipment, go ahead and we'll make this a D6 to grab. Or else you're also like taking the belt with you, I assume, for stowing.
Yep, sure.
And you'll also get the pouches that are attached to it.
A D6.
Yep.
Okay. A 2.
Nice. We're at 14 out of 100.
And I don't think I can do anything else, right?
Yep.
Besides move.
That'll be your action to more or less interact with this object in a more meaningful way than just grabbing something. You're taking it and then you're also equipping it onto yourself. So you have it now, and maybe you can check the pouches later and there'll be more stuff in there. I don't know. Elei, it's your turn.
I'm just gonna Word of Radiance again, just...
Okay, sounds good. Con save failed.
Cool. I'm using tiny dice. 5 damage.
5 is formidable. Your word starts cutting through them. Their knees buckle a little bit, and they are unable to really take this as much as the last one did.
Am I allowed to swear on the stream?
I didn't put up a warning for this one, so next one, yes. What would you like to say, sailor-wise?
My queen, she has...
Oh, I see. That's fine. That's fine. That's a title.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
The bitch queen sends her regards.
Yes. Yeah. Good old Umberly. Yeah, that's fine. Just nothing like too excessive. I'm trying to keep it PG-13.
Yeah.
That's why I asked.
Yep. No, I appreciate it. So their morale begins to break as you say that, and they see the hand, and like rumors about the kind of inmates that are kept here circle quite a bit. And there's like an instant connection when you say that of who you are, and they just look like they break a little bit. And when that happens, Rubric, it's your turn.
Cool. I have no weapons at this point, so I just grab them by their neck and try and smash their head against the wall.
Beautiful. Go ahead and this is going to be an athletics check.
Okay.
I'm going to go it against theirs.
Do I have
Because it's a-
advantage on this because I'm raging?
You do. It's a strength-based check. Nice.
Cool. Then that'll be a 13.
Okay. So you by a hair, you reach for them and they take your hand with their shield, more or less bashing away the one hand, but you don't have any weapons right now, so you grab them with the other and bash their head against the wall, dealing enough damage to knock them out.
Great. Again, yes, I'm not trying to kill them. I'm definitely trying to knock them out.
Yeah. They crumple to the ground. Your way is clear. And you can check the guards if you want at this point to do some quick looting. Most of them carry identical equipment to the first guard: a spear, a shield, and a short sword, with some pouches on their belt. And you can search them for a more thorough look.
You said they were wearing chain shirts?
Yes, they are wearing chain shirts.
I would be looking at Elei. Want the chain shirt? Because I'll help you pull it off.
Yes.
Nice. So yeah, it's going to take a couple of minutes to pull off that chain shirt. We're going to give it a D10 for this one. It's clinky and pinchy. Pinches to his skin as you're pulling it off.
I rolled an 8.
Nice.
I'm gonna stop grabbing things. Everybody else grab things for me, because.
All right, we're 22 out of 100 now.
Really high.
I visibly calm down as sort of my mohawk begins to sort of like recede to some
Power
degree.
down.
Yeah, and I look around and say, we can't tarry long, but maybe they have some smokes. And I move forward to try and pat them down to see if they have cigarettes.
Yeah. All right, if you want to grab cigarettes off of them, it's going to be a D4. And as you look through them,
I rolled a 4.
Nice. As you look through them, you also find we're at 26 out of 100 now. As you look through one of their belts, you also find a ring of keys.
Ooh, I definitely take that.
Mm-hmm. In addition to a small coin pouch. Cato, if you check yours, you also find a ring of keys. And you find coin pouches as well. First guard, for Rubric, you find 8 gold pieces, and Cato, you find 7.
But do I find any cigarettes?
Yes, you do. You find 7. You find like a small billfold style leather pouch to keep them dry, and it's got 7 in there in a row, hand-rolled cigarettes.
Love it.
Nice.
Cato, you also find a small figurine of an onyx cat.
Oh,
It's my cat now.
My cat now. I will take one of the spears.
Okay.
Is that a D6?
Yes, it's gonna be a D6 for the spear.
I roll a 3.
Nice. So now we're at 29 out of 100. I actually really like this system. This is good. It's trackable, and by rolling it, you can see how much time it takes. Maybe there's some give. It also encompasses the amount of time it takes to like sort of equip it on you as well. So Zanine, if you wanted to put on the leather armor or the chain shirt that Elei got to put that on, you don't roll again for that. That's already encompassed in the time that was consumed by the item roll earlier.
And now's the perfect time to put that armor on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can do that. There are kind of like little hovels in each side of the door frame where guards would be posted up to do things like wait for ambushing or hold up, and it's a nice little place to sort of do that thing as you prepare yourselves. And the door is still wide open. You can hear the cacophony going on outside. Various inmates running around. Some are climbing the walls to jump off. And Cato, you're not donning any weapons or armor besides the stuff that you already had, are you? Are you
Just
looking
the short sword that I got, I think.
Okay. So Cato, as you watch this happen, your eyes are drawn to the top of the wall. You see a darkness spreading from the direction that you're heading in. like kind of like a shadow, like as if a cloud were passing over the sun, but the sun is also like way over there.
Okay.
Yeah, you see some sort of maybe arcane darkness beginning to
Okay.
shadow.
I'm very nervous about this. Like dancing between my 2 feet. I'm like, gotta go. Let's go. Come on, guys.
To the kitchens.
To the kitchens.
After getting the chain shirt off, can I grab a short sword and hand it over to Elei?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll me a d6 for the short sword.
How do my d6s do that? 5.
Awesome. And by awesome, I mean like awesome for me, I guess. 34 out of 100.
But yeah, I hand it over to Elei and hold on to my dagger.
Awesome. Oh man, this is the most supportive half-orc. So supportive and wholesome prisoners.
So supportive.
Yeah, so wholesome. She critted on the first one and rolled extra hard.
Right.
Nice, mom.
A wholesome assassin. Fair enough.
Yeah.
And so
gotta take care of my friends.
Exactly. We should get going.
Yeah.
Awesome. So
food.
How you know how to get to the kitchens? That's no issue. There are a couple of doors up because of the whole hubbub. The way is, I'm not going to say it's clear because that would be
but
sort of
it's so chaotic that they're not really paying much attention.
Exactly. So I'm going to have you all, if you want to move without any further altercations, to roll to either blend in with the chaos and kind of read the movements of how this is ensuing. So if you want to, you can roll a form of stealth check, and if you want to use a different ability other than dexterity, you can describe to me how you're doing that. More or less half succeeds. So how does this look if you'd like to avoid altercations?
Zanine's an urchin, so she has the city secrets. So I was thinking, because of this chaos, it's kind of like being in a city. And it's like, anybody's been in a crowded high school, you pretty much get a feel for how to move through crowds, even in chaos.
Yeah.
So what I would be trying to take point on trying to get through there without getting too much attention, because that's her whole thing, is getting through the city without being noticed.
Okay. Beautiful.
So I would be taking point on that, or Zanine would be taking point on that.
Awesome. Yeah, you using your urchin background, you are able to lead them. Never mind, no check necessary. And I want you to also describe for me, in exchange for no checks, how for everybody who isn't Zanine, how they correct your behavior, how she either shows you the right way to do something, or like complements the way you're doing something to sort of get that behavior going to get people into the mix.
Probably grab Cato and tell her, follow me, and have everyone else follow in behind, because if we're moving in a line, it'll be easier to move through than if we moved in a clump. Mm-hmm. And basically just kind of snake our way through with one hand grabbed onto her and pulling her through, kind of like what you do with a child or a partner going through a crowd. Mm-hmm. And tell them to follow me through the crowd, through the chaos, and stopping when I notice guards moving through.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
And taking moments when they're distracted to move through.
Cool. Rubric, how does Zanine help you?
Yeah, so Rubric has been at the jail here at White Tree for many years. And Rubric is pretty smart and thinks that she knows the, place like the back of her hand. She's lived here for almost a decade. And so it's like she knows the ins and the outs of this place. And so for her, it's more about let's stay away from crowds. Let's be more paths that people maybe don't know as well. Let's be sort of staying more in that stealth zone rather than that sort of blending in zone. But thanks to Zanine and her being here even longer, she has very deep secret knowledge of the paths to get to see different places. And so I think that Zanine is revealing some pathways and some ways to get around the jail that are new to Rubric.
Yeah, and she has a very good relationship with the guards. At some point, you're about to run into a line of prisoners who are using this as an excuse to kind of go ham and just wreck the place because they don't quite care about freedom so much as they care about just destroying everything. And yeah, and Zanine shows you the secret staircase that the guards have shown her before to get around a little bit easier, and you kind of just go right over it. Elei, how does Zanine help you?
So I don't have any training in like things like this, but I'm very perceptive. So I'm probably like, like, oh, let's not go that way. Someone's down, and but it's like, someone that's like not even concerned with us. So it's like, no, it's okay, we can go that way. And so probably just like that correction of like, oh no, there's gonna be someone there, and like, well, that person doesn't matter. We can just walk past them, like that sort of thing.
Perfect. And Cato, what do you notice along the way?
What do we notice along the way? I think we I think, like you said, when we were starting to get the magic back, Cato like was starting to kind of feel like the rhythm of the place, and they're used to being in crowds, so they don't totally need a hand, but it definitely helps them focus. So that's kind of what Zanine is doing, is like guiding, like, this is what we're going to do, more of an emotional tether than anything else. But
Nice.
I think they can kind of help Zanine by being able to kind of sense the rhythm of where people are and like what's going on as they're moving through the halls.
Yeah, and Cato, you notice that almost naturally, like I described sort of the thrumming rhythm of people and the way they move about and exchange through their lives, because you have that attachment to bardic magic. You notice that Zanine, when she's in this mindset to move through crowds, that she just kind of hops through those areas as though she were dancing through harp strings. So we reach the kitchen, and as you do, you notice that the doors are taken off their hinges, almost as if somebody had tried to hold up in here, or perhaps a large group of people had tried. And you hear careening, you hear scraping metal, forks against plates, pans bashing against walls. Like, this place is a food fight, but a little bit more violent. And as you approach, you notice, as though it's in a spotlight, there is a pale yellow-skinned man sitting cross-legged on one of the tables as chaos ensues around him, not moving, not doing anything, completely silent. And that's where we're going to take a break.
Okay.
You'll be human for a second. So we'll be right back with more Eaves of the World Tree. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back in like 5 or 10 minutes to finish up the rest of this session and the escape from White Tree Prison.
Okay.
Be right back.
All right.
Goodbye. Goodbye, everybody. Cato, the half-elf bard, Elei, the water genasi tempest cleric, Zanine, the half-orc rogue, and Rubric, the fire genasi barbarian, have begun their escape in an attempt to ransack as much as they can of this jail while the chaos is still strong, and from then, who knows. However, Cato has noticed that there is something weird going on. All of them have noticed, without doubt. Like, I shouldn't say notice. Notice is the wrong word. This jail is falling apart in more violent ways than not. And when we join them, they have taken out a couple of guards, some in less lethal ways than others, and have come to the kitchens in order to find their friends and more equipment for whatever travel that they are going to go forth on next. When they reach the kitchens, it's completely cacophony, except for one figure who is sitting on a table in the middle of the mess hall, untouched, as fighting goes on around him. The doors to the kitchens from beyond the mess hall are at the far end, and it looks like there have been some tables pressed up.
Put up as like a fortress wall.
Yeah, kind of. But from like the other side, maybe they push the counter on. It just kind of looks like slats, metal slats, across the top, and the bars have been closed down over the sort of serving area. But you can get there when you traverse this room. What would you like to do?
The person that's just sitting there, is that one of the prisoners I would recognize?
You've been here for a long time, and yes, you know that their name is, or his name rather, is Ohm, and he is a Yuan Ti, perhaps monk.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, then I'll probably ignore him then. And just let him do his thing.
He does his thing. He's just quietly meditating while people kill each other around him. Yep.
It's like if I recognize him, I just ignore him.
Sounds good.
So make my way over to the actual kitchen area for prepping food and stuff.
Sounds good. As you walk through, I run through. You're in the room. It doesn't really count as traversing a landscape anymore. So more or less, I just want a check to avoid. It's like it's gonna be a dex save. It's just like avoiding the chaos going on around you.
Ducking between like globs of potatoes.
And you can also roll acrobatics if that's better for you. So like a dex saving throw or acrobatics, just like to go through. And the entire group can roll this if you want, and half would pass because you're kind of helping each other get through the way.
Yeah, I'll probably be going with dex saves because.
So Rubric is confronted with this scene of this cacophony, this sort of like whirlwind of kitchen items and food. And you said there's people fighting in here?
Yeah, they're more or less.
There's a whole bunch of like people fighting in here. It seems like this is a big chaotic scene. You said there's one person in the middle of it who seems to be very much at ease and very much as if they are meditating.
Tranquil is the word I would use, yes.
Tranquility, yes. I am a trained sage. Do I get the sense that this person is causing this? Like, are they causing all these items to fling around the room, like in some sort of like
good question.
Poltergeist-esque sort of fashion?
You would have been here long enough to know who this guy is. The short answer is no. He's just kind of always like this. It's just a little surprising to see him out of his cell and about. Normally he's like in his cell or in a secluded place. But it may be that while dining on his normal small meal of rice or other bland substances, this fighting started erupting, and he decided to hunker down in the most peaceful way he knew how. Almost as if he knows if he doesn't move, he won't get touched.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I would definitely make a dex save as I attempt to traverse this room unsuccessfully, getting a 4.
I got 11.
Nice.
For dex
11?
save. Yeah. Yeah, apparently we're flipping on potatoes.
Zanine, you suffer no
it just damage to my pride.
There's no damage here. It's a little less graceful than you would have liked, but you get across the room without any complications. Rubric, in the course of moving across the room, you do suffer 2 damage in some capacity. Maybe it's just like bludgeoning damage from a wayward,
just sort of getting hit.
Wayward pot just hitting you in the face. It was like aimed towards somebody else, but this is the way it is. Somebody bumps into you, and you like slide against the wall where a knife is, and you accidentally cut your arm. It's that kind of thing. So over the course of traversing the room, you take about 2 damage.
I got an 11 as well, too.
Yep, you're fine. And Cato?
I got an 18.
Yeah, you're fine as well. It's only Rubric, and maybe that's because they're like red and just a walking stoplight.
People literally see red and aim for it.
Kind of, yeah. All of you are able to move wherever you would like in the kitchen. Okay. As this happens around you.
Zanine would be grabbing basically rations, anything that stores well over a period of time. Imagining that however they're escaping, that they're going to need food that lasts a while and doesn't spoil quickly. So,
Sure. That would be in the kitchens itself. So
yeah,
you're gonna need
that's
to
what
like press through, and
Oh, wait.
upon first, it's stuck a little bit. You might need some help to move it aside, and it feels almost as if like maybe there's multiple things stacked up against it. You might.
Okay, like they brace the door.
Mhm.
I'm gonna try to help. I'm not very strong, but
Yeah. No, don't you two start
That's
that.
okay. So if you're helping, whoever rolls gets advantage on the roll.
I'm also not very strong.
That's okay.
What is Elei's strength like?
I have a -1 strength. I am trained in athletics though,
Mhm.
so if this would be an athletics check, I at
would
least
say
have
that
a
it is.
positive modifier.
I have a plus. I have just a 0 for my strength, so maybe I should roll it. Unless it is athletics.
Yeah. Athletics is a good way to describe it.
Yeah, you would have. I guess you have like +1 to your athletics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's positive at least. With advantage, right? You said?
Yeah.
Well, I got an 11.
11.
11.
Yeah, you press up against the wall with Zanine sort of behind you, and your feet, both of them, are slipping back. The floor is a little bit too slippery to really find any enough friction in to press this aside.
Rubric, help us out here.
Yeah.
So Rubric was knocked to the ground as she was hit by this pot. And she started looking around and sort of locks eyes with Cato, and just like is like, what am I doing here with you? Like Cato's here. I like look around for my sibling, and I look around for the Genasi gang, and they're not here. Maybe they are making their escape, hopefully, or something. But it's now I'm with these like 4 people who I like, what, Cato? Like, and I'm like, as I'm like trying to push myself up, and I look at Cato as I'm moving over, and they're all like, Rubric. And I'm like, why don't you inspire them?
I did inspire you.
You're free.
I don't want your inspiration, Cato. I've heard enough from you over the times you've been here. I've heard enough, Cato. I don't need your words.
Okay.
And I sort of whatever, like get up and like huff away.
Okay. So, is anybody helping the other two with an attempt at a reroll?
I have -1 strength.
This is a very squishy party.
And I'm just like whatever, like I'm just pissed. Like I'm just like
squishy.
I'm just hitting the head.
I'm just not very.
I'm just like unhappy.
That's true.
I'm just like So I'm not paying attention to whatever's happening over there right now.
Okay, fair enough. So yeah, Elei and Zanine, you attempt to press Cato. Do you do anything? Okay, if the answer is no.
Inspired by Rubric, and by inspired I mean kind of also now a little bit angry. I'll just go, you can do it. Yes, you can. You can do it. You're the band.
The most sarcastic bardic inspiration ever. I love it.
Yeah. I'm mostly like keeping an eye on the room behind me, trying to see if there's anything like I can sneak in and snag at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
So who is that to?
Yeah, who do you give your inspiration to?
Probably Zanine.
Okay, cool. So yeah, Zanine, you hear this and it fills you with inspiring
mostly just the pure sarcasm.
Mostly, yeah, just you appreciate the forcedness and the extraness of it. And as you start prepping up Elei, you notice you feel this burning like from the corner of your eye. You feel it boring into you. Roll initiative.
Ooh.
7.
Awesome. So yeah, you notice this this first in all the chaos. It was a little hard to see, and you're wondering why you didn't see it sooner. This barreling Goliath figure heading towards you with a cruel grin on his face. Anchor, your
Anchor, hey, how's it going?
ex-first mate,
Oh.
barreling towards you with a large serving tray in hand, and you just, the last thing you hear before he raises it to his shoulder is, "Been waiting a week to do this."
Oh no.
And that's going to be a 17 versus your AC.
It hits.
You're going to take 6 bludgeoning damage as the thing careens into you.
Oh,
and this happens over your shoulder, Zanine, and you're
Yeah.
looking over there to get your pep talk, and then when you look back over, you hear this clank.
Ooh, Zanine, dang.
All right, Elei, how are you looking for
Wait,
hit points? 1, perfect. Yeah, it maybe
20.
sends you off balance, but doesn't like knock you to the ground. And you hear this clang, and Zanine, you look up at this this Goliath who's just hovering over your half-orc body with this big ol' nasty toothed grin, and he says, "Been waiting a week to do that. You want to turn?"
Well, that being said, he should make a DC 13 Dex saving throw.
Sure. Or do you mean con for
It is Dex for Wrath of the Storm.
Okay. He made a 17.
Okay, so I rolled 14 and it is half damage, so 7 damage.
Nice. 7 damage is not quite enough, but it knocks him off of you a little bit. He stumbles backward and he goes, "That's the kind of fight I like. Come on, we doing this? Not mad. You're not mad."
I'm not mad at you. You're mad at me. Not my fault we got caught.
Not my fault we got caught. So
10 to hit him.
for the rest of you, 10 to hit him. You attempt to swipe at him with whatever weapon you're using, or the dagger, and he just kind of bends and ducks out of the way. Sailors are quick on their feet.
Yeah. I tell him, piss off.
Roll me a persuasion check.
17.
17. He says, "All right, I'll get you later." And he winks at you and begins to sort of slide his way through the chaos again, mumbling something under his breath with a crazy grin on his face.
Nice.
So wink at Elei, or
He winks at you, Zanine.
Ooh. Yeah, Rubric has basically been like taking cover after being hit in the head and having this exchange with Cato and like sort of ducking. And so as this other fight is happening with this Goliath, is not really a part of that, but is definitely scanning the room for her friend Creamhold, the dwarf, and trying to find her. And if not there, then
Creamhold the dwarf would be in the kitchens, which are
Exactly.
blocked off, and where the others are trying to get to.
And as that sort of sinks in, I think that's exactly the point at which Rubric goes over there to try and open those doors.
Nice.
Or help, as the case may be, provide advantage to Zanine to help open the doors.
Awesome. Yep, you can certainly do that. Cato, as you peer around the room looking for things you can take, you find like silverware and like old foodstuffs that have been thrown around, and you also find, if you want to spend the 4 points out of your inventory to do it, a diary that seems to have been scattered onto the ground. Diary. Mm-hmm. It's a thick black leather bound diary with some strange markings on the top.
Yeah, I want it. I don't need it, but I do want it.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead and spend 4 out of your pool. So, or a D4 rather. Here's the thing though. I will upgrade this to a ritual book if you upgrade that to a D10. You're at 34 out of 100 right now.
Do it. Do
I'm gonna
it.
do it.
Because as a bard, you have ritual caster, and so does the
Yeah,
so does the
do
cleric.
it.
It's useful for everyone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that.
All right, go ahead and roll me the D10.
It's an 8.
Still kind of worth a ritual book, and there will be some rituals
Definitely.
in there.
Definitely worth it.
Especially if it has something like Leon's tiny hut or something.
Right? Okay. So, let's see. You're Rubric, you're helping.
Yeah, I
Zanine.
look at Zanine. I mean, Zanine and I are actually probably very similar in terms of build. I don't know exactly. I mean, I'm more voluptuous, obviously, but just in terms of height, I mean, like you're a half orc. I am a fire genasi barbarian. Like it's obvious that we are a little bit larger, as it were, than others.
Nice. So whoever's making the roll, you're doing so at advantage, and if you'd like, you can use the bardic inspiration given to you by Cato.
19.
No, 19.
Nice. Yeah, you start pressing this door back. It scrapes that metal against the tile on the ground, and it starts moving forward. You hear hushed and hurried noises from the kitchen. Oh God, they're getting in! Oh God, they're getting in! And you hear and you feel like some resistance back at you, but the combined efforts of the barbarian and the rogue are able to push it all the way back. And you have entrance into the kitchen, and they are about to attack you. There's your dwarven friend Creamholtz with a mop, and she has it like high over her head, and she's, "Oh my God, it's you! Why did you say something?"
We didn't know what was going on in here. Are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine. Get in here. And you can go in. I want to back it up a little bit because I just remembered Cato's like pep talk, and I just picture Cato being like, "You can do it. You're number one," and then seeing the diary, and then just keeping going like, "You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it." Picking it up while she's like still doing the bardic inspiration. But yeah, you all have entrance into the kitchenway, and they shuffle you in there and close the thing back up. And
before we get too much farther, I need to cast Cure Wounds on myself. I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that before we get into a situation where that might be relevant.
That's true.
Yeah.
You've cast Fog Cloud and Cure Wounds. I think that'll be the last of your spell slots.
I am out of spell slots now, but I full heal myself.
Yay!
So.
Nice.
Fog Cloud is actually like a once per day thing as part of being
it's still a first level spell. I just always have it prepared.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, that's right. For the Tempest Cleric, I was thinking Air Genasi. Sorry.
So while you're in the kitchen, you can ransack the area. If somebody wants to go for rations, that'll be a D4, and then more or less for each person for a week's worth of rations.
I also would like to find what amounts to a hand axe, like a cleaver or something that I may be able to throw, basically, or chop with.
Yeah, you definitely find a cleaver, and I'm going to put the cleaver at a D6.
All right, I'll roll it now. Getting a 3.
Nice. So
I got a 2 for rations.
2 for rations, great. So we are at 47 out of 100.
I also would like to find lots of rations.
Yep. If you roll a D4, you find a week's worth of rations.
I roll 4 on my D4.
I got a 2 on my D4, and I also want to look for some spices.
Ooh.
They probably don't have, super fancy ones, but even just like some salt and pepper.
Yeah, they have like, curiously enough, some like saffron and some other things. It's actually like there's this private store that Creamholtz shows you that the warden especially likes, because the warden does eat down here too. Well, he doesn't eat down here. There's only one kitchen area in the whole place, and sometimes they have to send it up.
Yeah, take some of those.
I'm gonna fill as big a sack as I can with that. Like, screw the actual food. Like, I'm just taking the spices.
We're at 53 out of 100 so far for spices. We're gonna put that at a D6. Cato, would you like rations as well?
Yeah, I rolled a 4.
Nice. We're at 57.
Now we want to roll
3 for the spices.
All right, we're at 60 out of 100.
Whoa!
Goes fast, right? Zanine?
Are there like potato sacks?
Yes.
Okay, probably like dump out a thing of potatoes and just start throwing stuff in that.
Yeah, I won't
to
make
just
you roll
have
for that. That's more like an accessory to the things that you do want, like the rations and everything else you're
Yeah,
carrying, so you
and
don't
I'm
need to roll for that.
tossing them in there so that we have at least something to carry stuff in.
Yep, absolutely. Um, Elei, as you are pulling spices out of this top secret shelf with a lock on it, that they that they open up for you because they're like, this place is screwed. You take whatever you want, take whatever you can get, take me with you. Don't leave me here. There's a burner on next to you underneath a kettle, and the kettle begins steaming, and you hear the voice of your god whisper tempest through that mist, and suddenly it hits you like you're able to catch your breath for a moment. You realize that Anchor was in solitary confinement because he kept attacking people early on. He's out.
Ooh.
Oh.
And solitary confinement is in the area where that darkness was spreading from earlier.
Ooh. All right, I look at
Yeah, I'm
Creamhold
gonna
and I
mention
say,
Yep.
he was in solitary.
It might not have hit you earlier because like he's right there. It happened a couple days ago, kind of easy to forget in the moment because everything's going on, but you remember now.
You're right. That's weird. How did he get out?
who knows? There's lots of crazy stuff going on here. Grimhold, you should come with us. We'll guide you out of here, at least to safety.
Yeah, I don't want to stay here. I mean, the whole place is cracking. Points to a crack running down the length of the kitchen wall.
And it's even worse outside.
Hold on, Zanine?
Oh, I was telling Creamhole that, yeah, we were outside when it happened. It was not great.
Not great here either. It's just like the whole kitchen is covered with stuff on the floor. Anything that wasn't secured or locked away in a cabinet on the ground now. Broken plates everywhere. And Creamholt is going to spend, I keep calling, it's Grimholt, right?
No, with a K.
With a
Creamhold.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Creamholt, but then I was like, that's a ridiculous name. But it is. Okay, yeah.
And very traditional, in fact.
Nice. Creamholt starts pulling off like silverware and stuffing her pockets with them. just gonna take as much silverware as she can.
Yeah.
I would also just like to grab like a paring knife or something that's small enough to be technically a dagger. So at least I have a couple of them.
Okay. Yep.
So a D4.
Yep, D4 for that.
A 2.
Nice. We're at 62 out of 100.
And I'll do the same.
Okay.
As I roll a 1.
Nice. 63 out of 100. Goes so fast.
I think I also will.
Okay, sounds good.
Just in case.
Yeah.
It was a 2.
Nice. 65 out of 100.
I need.
Well, where should we go next?
My loot.
I agree. We should
reclaim it.
Wait, your loot? What? Wait,
my
wait.
loot.
You mean like a hoard of treasure?
It's my treasure. I need it. I have to rescue it.
The barracks and the warden's chambers be from the kitchens.
Yeah, let's go to the barracks and the warden chambers. You're right, Zanine. I think that there's things there that we need to find. I need an axe in my hand.
Isn't it? One of those places?
Yep, they're about 10 minutes away. More or less, you know the way, Zanine, to the guards' chambers at least, and you know the warden's place is somewhere
like
around there.
Of where is it like opposite of where that darkness was spreading?
It's kind of in the same direction. More or less, like if you imagine a clock, you all went like darkness is here, and you all went like 5 o'clock, and the warden's chambers and guards area is like it's like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock.
Okay, let's move that direction on our way out.
Okay. So you start heading out. About this time, you feel the rumbling through the ground again as changes begin happening in the area around you. You notice that the lights, these candles that are borne on every hallway, start to glow a little brighter. And Rubric, you start
Okay.
feeling warm, like very, very warm, almost as if your body is resonating to this.
Mm. Yep.
And using Zanine's background once more, you're able to traverse fairly easily through this chaos once more. You duck into alcoves as guards pass and hear them talking about how prisoners are escaping, like jumping off of the sea rock, which is extremely dangerous. A lot of them are dying doing so. Um,
Yeah.
it's too
Well,
high.
let's not do that.
Um, and how there's been a break in solitary confinement from something that they refer to as Aziz, which
Aziz?
yeah, Aziz. The name sounds vaguely familiar to Zanine and Rubric, but you've only heard rumors about this person
Yeah.
before, and you might know more for a check about them, like an intelligence history check.
Yes, I will make a history check.
I
I
will.
got a 15.
No.
So while most of the place is in some lockdown, various anti-magical measures have taken place. You remember that there is a section in solitary confinement strictly for people who they have trouble pinning the magical power down on, and Aziz is one of those people. They went into solitary confinement 20 years ago, and
Oh,
they
wow.
have not seen the light of day since.
Okay. Interesting.
Creepy, super creepy.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
I mean, yeah, we continue to creep down towards this very heavily fortified area.
Mm-hmm.
I am feeling a little worried. I look around at everyone. We're a little beat up. We've been through some stuff. I'm not sure if I can trust all of these people, but
Well, I mean, we're all in here for various reasons, so I mean.
Where do you go first? Do you go to try to check out the guards barracks first, or do you try to check out the warden's chambers first?
Do you want to look around the warden's chambers for something interesting? Cato?
Mm, well, the
How are we
guard
doing on like weapons and armor? Does
haven't been.
anyone need anything like really badly?
I could
yes.
probably use armor, but I don't need it. um,
Yes, we maybe the barracks first,
yeah.
and then we leave.
Yeah.
Okay. So
So looking.
when you reach the guard barracks, it's got more secure doors than the last couple of places you were in, and I feel it's for pretty obvious reasons. The hallway is littered with unconscious prisoners, people who look like they might be under some magical spell, and the door to the actual place, it's got one of those thin viewing windows in the top of it, and it is closed. And that's what you are faced with when you approach. The hallway itself is about 10 feet wide, about 12 feet high, and the door comes into like this shape, heavy metal
Okay.
and reinforced. What do you do?
I'm assuming it's locked.
Yeah, when you try it, it is locked, and if you listen, you can hear some presence behind a scuffling of material, perhaps somebody pressing themselves also to listen to what's going on.
Can I just real quickly like bang the door just to startle them?
Absolutely, yeah. You bang on the door and you hear this slight clatter, and you see and hear the small slat for the small viewing window kind of shake a little bit, almost as if somebody had had their hand on there deciding whether or not to open it, and they just let it go, and it comes a little bit ajar.
Can I peek through there and see how many are in there?
Yeah, you take a look through, and there are about 5 guards in there. All of them look harrowed, and some are injured.
Okay. I'm just going to say through the door, hey, we just want Cato's instrument.
I elbow you hard and I say, the instrument's not in there. It's in the warden's chamber. What are you doing?
No, it's in there.
What are you doing?
There are other instruments in the warden's chambers.
What are you doing?
Go ahead and roll me a persuasion check, Zanine.
Oh, 21.
Nice. For that, you hear some voices, slight exchange back and forth, and they go, an elven woman opens up the viewing slot and goes, which one's Cato? Oh, dear. Yeah, we got it. You're not going to attack us if we open the door, right?
You promise, Rubric?
Nope.
Look, we have a right mind to not give you anything, to not do anything of the sort. But frankly, I don't feel very much like a god right now. So she closes the thing, and you hear several clicks as somebody, and like sort of the hollow acoustic sound, that tinsel on wood sound of somebody grabbing an instrument, and the door opens just enough to fit the loot through.
Yeah, I'll grab it. I'll block the doorway from everybody else and just kind of grab it through the crack that they produce.
Yep. Yeah, they just shove it into your hands, and then the door closes again.
Okay.
I knock on the door, or is the thing still open? The slide?
They closed it, but if you knock, you'll hear a voice say without opening it again, What else is it?
I have some gold pieces. Perhaps you have something in there for me.
Look, mate, we're not a shop. Go ahead and roll persuasion.
I'm trying to bribe them. I'm not. It's not a shop per se, but
so
that's
nice.
totally cool. I got a 4.
We're not a shop, and you can take that gold and shove it.
We do have keys, so we could just come in there.
Yeah, but they got stuff up against the door.
Yeah,
I know.
they also have locks on the
with that.
inside and like bars that you heard were being moved up. Keys would get you an easier entrance if you wanted to force your way in, but unfortunately, you will not be able to buy any of their wares today, fine sir.
What about, do you have any, like, big old rusty sword, something you don't want anymore, maybe?
What did you want, Rubric?
Oh, a battle axe.
Oh.
Big old rusty battle axe, broken one, maybe?
They stopped responding at this point.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, we can go to the wardens.
Yeah.
They have nice taste.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious what Warren's been hiding up in.
For your loot, it's going to be a D10.
Ooh.
Okay.
Let me roll one that I haven't rolled yet. Sorry.
Okay.
There it is. 1.
Nice.
Nice. 66 out of 100.
I was thinking, like, roll low.
Nice. So
I'll take it.
you all
right.
head up to the warden's chambers, and this place, as you go down this hallway, using the keys to move past a number of doors, you start feeling a heavy presence. Perhaps it's mist in the air or something, and you find yourselves somewhat lost in this area. You've never been here before, so it's a little bit difficult to to traverse. They would make it a little bit more labyrinthian toward this. And as you go a little bit farther, you notice that there are portraits hanging up on the wall of various wardens and pictures of like landscapes and some maps, things to maybe make the place a little bit more like a home, kind of.
Yeah.
And it strikes you as odd and maybe a little bit out of place. And there are like velveteen tapestries that are hanging on the wall the further that you get in. And these things, there's a rumble, and these portraits start falling off the walls again. you don't have to roll a saving throw for this. There's enough
Yeah.
substrate on the wall to hold yourself against.
Find a doorway.
Yeah, exactly. And the walls are like concave shaped. You eventually come to this wide open area. It looks to be some sort of welcoming area, a pavilion of sorts, with and it's open to the sky too. You've heard of this? There's like a sky lounge that the warden favors, and past this area is like there's a fountain of sorts. However, the fountain, if it did ever look good, is now in crumbling pieces with water leaking out all over the place.
Okay.
You also see there is like an open pavilion that leads up to this tower, and there's darkness that's circling this area, almost as if there's a wild storm. But you can see sunlight on either side past the area, and that's when you see it. I'm going to choose one person, and this person who roll randomly. Cato. You everyone's looking around, and you're always kind of trying to find something to steal next. And as you look over your shoulder to see, like, maybe there's a piece of a statue or some sort of like marble thing that you can take with you, you see the giant eye of some kind of creature peek from beneath a mask of horns and then slowly dip down underneath the pavilion again. Almost
Like
as if something, perhaps a giant serpent, is climbing this area.
Do you guys see that?
The darkness? Yes, it's terrible. Do we really need to go in there?
Yeah.
Big ol' eye.
Yeah, as you look,
Fountain's
there's
barely running anymore.
yeah, as you look, there's nothing to see there. Cato, it struck you the most weird because the patterns around the eye where there would normally be scales, it was almost like fluid. It's like silvery fluid, very strange.
We're not alone here.
And it's very empty. You see like a couple
Of course we're not. It's a prison.
Yeah, it's not empty. There's like various guards or people who are dressed in guards uniforms just scattered, laying down all over the place, non-responsive.
And it's under the pavilion? Under the fountain? Where did it duck underneath?
Okay, so you're faced with sort of like a plateau, I would say.
Okay.
Sort of a plateau that's open to the sky and all around it. Like there's not even a wall, so to speak. And you saw the eye come up from this sort of platform where the pavilion ends and then duck down. So imagine a tower and you're on top of it. And you kind of saw it go like that.
Oh, okay.
It's not worrisome, right?
No. No problem. I don't even know what to do.
Do any of the fallen guards have battle axes?
Oh, good question. Yes. Yeah. They
I run to that one and take it.
Yeah, there is a strong dwarven guard who fell a bit ago, and you take it. Go ahead and roll me a d12 for that battle axe. His hand
Sorry,
is like,
old iron sides.
Yeah, it's affixed to it like rigor mortis.
Yeah, totally.
So it takes,
which makes sense. I rolled a 10.
Nice. Well, now we're on 76 out of 100.
Mm.
So as you pry this hand out, you notice that the entire thing is desiccated. This dwarf, but this happened very recently.
Does it look worse here than where we were originally? As far as like damage and effects, has it seemed like it's gotten worse the closer we got into the wardens?
So that's a really good question. This place looks kind of untouched, almost as if either you're in a different place entirely or something's playing with its food, so to speak.
Oh.
So the rest of the place is like disintegrating and like going to ruin, and this place looks and feels strange to you. You take a look around at the bodies. Everything seems pristine except for the fountain and a couple of things that are scattered around. And then you notice how quiet it is. It is so immensely heavy and quiet. And it strikes you now that although the water is moving in the fountain, you actually can't hear the water moving.
Okay.
I'm gonna go over to the fountain. I want to know, like, is this real water?
Sure. You inspect it, and it appears to be very real water, pure water. But it's behaving strangely. Perhaps there's some sort of magic ambient in the area that's affecting it.
Okay.
Indeed. And Rubric has a sage background as she sort of is trying some experimentation, saying hello, 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 to see if she can hear her own voice, and just trying to get a sense of maybe what's going on here.
Sure. When you speak out, you hear it, and you would have heard it with Cato a little bit earlier. But honestly, when somebody else is speaking, it's different. You might have thought it was like, oh, that's just the echo of this place. That's all it is. But when you speak yourself and try to test how loud you can get, you notice that there's only so loud you can get, almost as if something is dampering or pressing down on your throat, like suppressing the noise. And you can speak normally pretty easily, but the louder you try to get, the harder it is to get it out.
Does this remind me of any sort of a magical effect or anything I might have learned during my time studying, environmental abjuration sciences?
Go ahead and roll an Arcana check.
Sure. How about a 16?
For a 16, this and the heavy healing around this area, it strikes you as something that you've read about happening in Dragon's Lairs.
Oh, good. And as Cato is all like, we're not alone, and like something's going on, and I'm like, no, 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 no. And then I'm like, what?
Big ol' eye.
Yeah, as I lock eyes with you, Cato, and like for the first time, I think you and I have like this, like, oh my God, like something is totally not cool here.
I'm wondering if maybe we should abandon going to the wardens, because this seems like a bad idea. Oh, it feels like a bad idea.
I thought so too at first, but if something of this magnitude is going on here, I want to know what it is.
The eye went behind like a tower. Would I be able to go over there and check?
Yeah. So if you walk to the edge of the pavilion you're standing on and look down, you are faced with some. Oh, what's the word I want to use? Gosh, why can't I think of it? Some tiering of how the way that the this tower is set up into the rocky waves and clashes below.
Yeah.
And you don't hear anything still, but you can swear that you felt something that felt very much like sound in your brain, and it starts to mess with you a little bit, and you like it feels like the feeling of rubbing your skin against like an alligator purse. And that's what it feels like when you look to the side and you see this almost whiplashing silver tail move and disappear around the other side of the tower.
Okay. I guess I poke the feeling.
Poke the feeling.
Because I felt it like against my skin. So yeah, wondering if there's something invisible there.
Sure. Go ahead and roll me an Arcana check.
Yeah, no, that's a 3.
For a 3, you aren't sure, and everybody else, like you see Zanine like touch her skin, like this, but nothing is around her.
I start backing away because she's weirded out at this point.
Fair enough.
I'm gonna keep sort of like playing with the water and just like investigating it. I'm gonna use my like shape water ability just to see, make sure my magic like works on it normally. And sort of while I'm doing this, I'm gonna say like under my breath, just like start a small prayer.
Yeah, you can do that, and you start uh moving your hand throughout the water, and you um
What? Can you change the tricolor then?
you feel a brief normality to the wind. Something speaks to you for a brief second, as you commune and pray, and you feel the water part around your hands, and within, what's one thing that you are looking for that you haven't found here yet?
I found all my stuff. I guess like,
What's something that you want for somebody else?
do I want for someone else? We found Cato's actual.
Yeah, it's a little beat up,
right.
but it's in working
Okay.
order, if a little untuned.
And we found the battle axe.
I don't have thieves' tools for unlocking things.
Oh yeah, tool. So yeah, thieves' tools.
Okay.
Just like.
All right, so as you're playing around, you feel the water leave your hand as it starts to part in a whirlwind, and you are bestowed with a gift from your god as you reach in and you feel thieves' tools, and adorning the top of each is this symbol of this symmetrical face of Umberly.
Mm-hmm.
So you add one set of thieves' tools, and go ahead and these are actually magic thieves' tools, so go ahead and subtract a d10.
Ooh.
Okay. I'll roll for it.
They will not break.
And that bounced. 10.
10. Wonderful. We're
I
at
suppose it's.
86
I
out of
suppose-
100.
I mean to roll that high, but
Is it possible to find some sort of container to take some of this pure water with us, or with me rather?
Yeah, you know what? We can say that you took some flasks from the kitchen as a part of the rations, and then a D4 for some water if everybody wants to scoop in, and that'll be enough water for a week too. And not a flask, a water skein, I would say.
Okay, yeah.
Cool. I rolled a 3.
Nice.
Are any of these guards in a leather armor?
Yes.
I'll help Cato with one of those off since she helped me earlier.
All right, that'll be a D6 for the leather armor.
Okay.
No, sorry, D10, but divided by 2.
Okay.
So roll and divide.
So it'd be 2.
Nice.
Nice.
We're at 91 out of 100. Anyone else want to get some water?
I was going to get some water.
Okay, go ahead and roll me a D4 as well. Let's see.
3.
94 out of 100. 6 points left. And as you're starting to grab some of this water, the water disperses. Elei, you hear a voice in your head, like with the water and the wind rushing around when you take those thieves' tools, and it says, "My child, you found the keys to this place. Let me give you the keys to the world." And you have these, and and then you hear this voice as the voice starts leaving you, saying, "Now wreck it."
All right. I'm gonna take my sword out and just start smashing the fountain.
Awesome. Yep. You start smashing what remains of the fountain, probably with the pommel, and it starts breaking apart, and you start feeling the shuddering from around you as the it's not from you. Perhaps something is feeling those things and responding. So you clap once, and it claps once back.
Can I do perception just to around?
Yeah, of course.
Does it look like there's an obvious way ahead? You said there was a tower before us, or stairs?
Yeah. There's 2 stairs that lead up into the warden's tower.
Got it.
It was a 16 for perception.
For 16, everything that I said before still stands. It seems now that you're taking a closer look at everything, your vision isn't correcting itself, and you're starting to realize that this place around you is very yellow and unnatural, almost as if something beyond the scope of things are affecting it. And you also see that there is a white light coming from thin slits in the windows from the warden's chambers up in that tower. You also notice as well, the guards are all desiccated in a very um, concise way, and that it's like they're all the same, same patterns, same markings, almost as if like imagine like you take a box of raisins, but all of the raisins are identical, and nothing prunes like that.
Okay. Interesting. Weird. But Zanine wouldn't have any idea about any of that.
Seeing the light and hefting the battle axe, yeah, and Rubric just starts moving towards the tower.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Same.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Great. You head up into the warden's tower. There's nobody stopping you. There's nothing there. In the chair, the warden sits, and when you open the door, it creaks open. Completely silent in this room as well. The warden sits in the chair, slumped over the desk like this, with a somewhat metallic-looking shadow, I'll say, sort of hovering over the chair with many arms, each grasping the chair, the arm of the chair on the table.
What?
There's some kind of creature there, and it's just kind of looking around, and it notices you, and cocks its head, and then presses a a um a spyglass toward you.
Spyglass.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking it.
Yep.
I want that. It's useful.
It's a good thing. There's also like as you approach, you also Rubric, you would be interested in perhaps logs here, and there's like a log of all the prisoners as well.
I'm more interested in what this crazy thing is in front of me, and
that makes sense.
as my friend Elei is taking this spyglass, I'm like, be careful. You don't know what that thing is.
What was the name again of the person in solitary confinement? Started with an A.
Assis.
I'm gonna be like Assis.
And the area around you rumbles a little bit, and the thing says, no. Or no, it doesn't say anything. It just shakes its head. Cato, if you would like to roll, or Rubric, if you'd like to roll an Arcana check to discern what this thing is.
Maybe.
If you know anything about it. Okay, if you don't.
I got a 17.
For 17, Rubric, you get the feeling that this thing is like perhaps some sort of keeper. Automaton might not be the correct word for it, but it's some sort of magical effect. It is not the person you're looking for, the thing you're looking at. It might be illusory or maybe some sort of conjuration, but it is not the thing. Then.
Okay. I say that to everyone as I'm like, this is not here. This is a projection.
Sorts, yes. And Elei, do you take the spyglass?
Yes.
Great. So you take this thing, and then there's a whipping sound as it depletes the last of your points.
Yep.
Power down. The area begins whipping open. There's a hole that like opens up in the wall, and you hear this voice say, "Tempest," and beyond you see. What's up?
That's a good thing.
Yeah. You see whipping winds, and some sort of strange skeletal structure. It's odd. It looks kind of like a fish, like a fishbone, perhaps, or some sort of skeleton. and you see it just kind of like falling upward, and then you see another one, and then some rocks in the far distance of what appears to be this portal that's opened up, and you hear, and if you were to look out the window, you see a lot of these opening up at the same time, and other people, small figures of inmates, perhaps even guards, being sucked into them.
Okay.
And as this thing begins getting larger, you feel it pulling and tugging on you.
Ah!
Don't worry,
Like
don't worry. This should be relatively safe, maybe a bit rocky, but it should be fine. Let's just like hold on to each other and hop in.
That's not
All right.
poison.
Buddy
Take it.
system.
I'm going nuts. I'm like, no. I'm like, no, sheer, nah, cream hold. I'm like, no, Genasi gang. I'm like, I don't want to be like torn away from the friends that we've been trying to like, whatever, get back to, especially my sibling.
They go with you.
But like, oh no, it's totally cool if they don't. No.
Oh.
I mean, I'm just being like sucked in. I'm not like jumping in, sort of.
Oh no, everyone goes. Everyone goes with you. It's almost as if a separate portal starts being opened up for each individual person. And this one in particular that seems to envelope you all, and especially focused on this spyglass, seems to be that wind. And you do see them being sucked into another one, but this one looks blazing like fire, and another one just looks like water. Gets sucked into it, as all of these planar holes begin to open, and we see the last of our heroes being sucked into this area, free from prison, but into perhaps another form of prison.
Yeah.
And a mercurial dragon falling backward into a portal of its own.
Is the figure still there?
Hmm?
The figure at the desk?
Yes.
Okay, just gonna give it one of these.
It like hands you a cloak as you rip away. All right, but that'll end our episode as you all are sucked into perhaps a plane of wind, air.
Whoa! Awesome! Great session.
Yeah, this was fun. So yeah, we're gonna start wrapping up now. Thank you for joining us. That was indeed some sort of dragon's lair, and perhaps an unseen servant who is seen.
Okay.
Multiple hands. Just make seen servants and make them creepy.
That's it.
Right. So, thoughts on the session? How are we all feeling? Bad?
That was
good.
I feel good.
Good.
Well, I mean, Zanine doesn't feel so great, but but for me, it's fun.
Good. Good. Fun.
Yeah, Elei's pretty happy with where we're going. Just
plane of wind. I can't send you to the plane of water. Not everybody else can breathe.
Oh yeah, sure. Just because everyone else would drown and can't do this early session.
Have fun, roll new characters. we do need to get some of Anna's characters in there though, so maybe somebody should die. JK. Actually, I love all these beans. But thank you very much. Oh, somebody dropped. It was Ken. Ken doesn't love us anymore. Anyway, if anyone has anything to plug, now is the time to do it. And I think we're gonna shift out of here pretty soon and get on with our day-to-day lives.
Yeah, I have nothing to plug.
That's
no.
A-okay. I have too much to plug, and the only thing I can say is if you follow me on Twitter, I tend to post my day-to-day stuff there.
I don't think I have anything.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and call it quits then.
All right.
Oh, there's Prolific Spirit again, and they are disappeared. Beautiful. All right, folks, we will catch you later on this insane adventure that's perhaps led.
Hey,
Hi.
sorry.
Okay. Before we go, Ken, do you have anything to plug? we're gonna wrap up.
Yeah, definitely check me out on my awesome podcast, which is a diceless, DMless indie storytelling RPG podcast called Board Ghost. Like you are a bored person, not like a board game. Definitely check us out. We just put out our 149th episode, and we were playing the game, I believe, Skeletons by Bully Pulpit, if you know that gaming company. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Definitely download some Board Ghost.
Beautiful. All right, I'm gonna stop the stream now.
Okay.
Goodbye, everybody. Good afternoon.
Bye.
Good
Goodbye.
night.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.